Good morning, folks. Here we are again. Yeah, kind of been a wee bit lazy today. I can't really be fuck putting too much effort into my whole Raccoon City review that I was talking about because I keep getting distracted by Boogie. So let's have a wee chat about him instead. Now, has been a good week for our Boogie2988. From seething on Twitter to following up with some other e-celebs. He's been mocked on a couple of major podcasts, and finally his videos have just been absolutely fucking woeful, if I'm being honest with you. So yeah, I had kind of jokingly told myself, it's like, do you know what? I should do like a weekly or a monthly breakdown of Boogie's life, his tweets, what he does online, and no, just no. Like I was kind of involved in the drama this week, a tiny wee bit to be fair, but I kind of knew the ins and outs of it, because I have a lot of free time this week, so I was kind of keeping an eye on things. So it was quick enough for me to do. Like there's no fucking way I could do this if I wasn't keeping up to date with it. So just jumping straight in here, the 7th of May. Starts off kind of bad for Boogie. He's complaining online about streamers who make lots of money but pretend they're poor because like they won't buy a PSN account or something. So yeah, in itself, that's not the stupidest tweet in the entire world. But people did rightly come in, like Mudahar from Some Ordinary Gamers. You can be frugal as well as rich. Like it doesn't really negate itself. It's weird though that Boogie says that they're like humble bragging and trying to pretend to be poor when Boogie actually does do that. Like no one can tell his power level because one second he'll say, "I'm really poor. You need to donate here. Help me pay for my lawyer's fees." All that kind of malarkey. But then if you turn around and laugh at him and call him poor, he'll very quickly remind you, I have six figures sitting in my bank account. I own my own house, which he doesn't. He's like the second year of a 15-year mortgage, and how he lost so much money in Ethereum.
How's the crypto crash hitting you? Not great. I will take your subscriptions today. I will definitely take your donations and subscriptions today. I'm not comfortable telling you how much I lost, but I definitely lost very much into the six figures.
Yeah, if you know anything about crypto, you know he's talking absolute nonsense here. Whilst it has gone down, it's gone down recently, he still would have more than he did last year when he made the video if he still has the Ethereum now. So obviously he's just talking shite. Of course, just to cover himself, he throws up a quick wee message there, just telling everyone, I'm really dumb, guys. I post things by accident and I'm really stupid. But then also saying that he was going to dunk on anyone who disagrees with him because he has this weird thing recently where he dunks on people, which is part of his midlife crisis. So yeah, we roll into the 8th of May, which is Mother's Day in America. So most people thought, okay, this is going to be when he goes fucking wild. And it is, but not because of Mother's Day. Instead, to try and make up for shitting on streamers yesterday, he decides to push up streamers and shit on landlords, saying landlords do literally nothing except hold you being homeless over your head. Whilst apparently now the average streamer, and I mean the average streamer on Twitch, works 4 to 6 hours a day every single day. Later on, he changes that to 6 to 8 hours every single day, and landlords only show up once a month to take your money and once every 6 months to fix something, which is weird because later on he claims that they literally never fix anything. So, of course, the pushback came, and he fucking argued with everyone. Random fans with zero fucking followers were ratioing his 500,000 account Twitter. Kid behind the camera, Mudahar, Adam22. Boogie, of course, he stuck to his guns. Now I'm shitting you. In the hours of him spurging out on Twitter, he went from how all landlords are horrible, immoral, evil people who just want to exploit people to how just, some landlords are, to how, well, it's just the landlords in Arkansas, guys. Well, okay, guys, I'm going to make a video here to clarify that I just mean this one specific landlord I had once. And guys, I don't get how you don't understand that. It was so clear from the start.
Landlords, love them, hate them. I personally hate them. Until I posted something on Twitter, I was under the impression that everyone hated landlords, but turns out there's a lot of people that are willing to take a bullet for them. I posted this joke tweet to Twitter where I said,
So yeah, Boogie's already at the point in his whole cycle where he's claiming this was just a joke and he doesn't get why people are upset about it, even though this is like a 15-minute long video where he explains why he has the opinion that he has, and like you just heard, he says he hates landlords and thought everyone hated landlords. So apparently it's not a joke. This is not the only example as well of him saying something as just like a factual statement and then saying, "Oh, but it's just a joke though," and then explaining why he said it. So it's clearly not a joke if he actually believes it. But yeah, he got pushback as well from fans who pointed out that previously he had said he wanted to be a landlord because he said he was going to buy up a bunch of property in Arkansas when he retires from YouTube. Now he's suddenly anti-landlord and he's upset that people are bringing this up because obviously he's changed. But then he says he doesn't want to do that anymore. He'd rather buy them and make them into Airbnbs, which got him even more pushback because that's arguably worse because now you're taking away potential homes from people to turn them into like hotels and holiday homes, which is even worse if you're trying to be a bleeding heart type. It's actually been kind of hard to archive it because Boogie will like say an opinion to one person and to the next person he'll say a totally different opinion, but then he'll go and delete a couple tweets and he'll delete a certain tweet and then he'll say, "Oh, but I didn't say that. I actually said this," and "Oh, you're taking that out of context because I actually said that, but he's already deleted his." It's fucking all over the place. But somewhere during the whole thing, him and Kid behind the camera butted heads, and because Boogie clearly doesn't want to lose him as a friend, he very quickly started groveling to him and then started insulting Mutahar randomly for like no reason when Mutahar like sent like two messages and then never interacted with him again. But he insulted Mutahar but didn't tag him, so one of Boogie's fans or trolls or something went and like tagged Mutahar into it, which caused those two to butt heads, and then Boogie had to go with Mutahar and then deleted that tweet and then started like tweeting him repeatedly apologizing to him. It was all over the place, honestly. So the next day he released a video that is about landlords and he makes a big point. He's like, "This is not a drama video, guys. It's not a drama video." And of course, like the whole start of the video is just him ranting about Mudahar and about these people not understanding him and how he made the video just to upset Republicans and conservatives randomly. I have no idea where that came from and how it was just a joke though, because he didn't even mean it. But he also hates landlords and he thought everyone hated landlords. And it's all over the place. It's just Boogie being as passive aggressive and as seething as possible because he's so annoyed he got any amount of pushback on this. So then he has to go into why he hates landlords and he goes like this ridiculous, over the top, stupid story. Like he's talked about landlords before. Like when he's on the PK podcast, he talked about a landlord, and it was like stupid and it was petty and it was really unbelievable there too. But it was like minor. It's like he wanted them to like fix a leak that was going into the drywall, and they refused. So like he moved out, and then when he was like moving his last piece of furniture out or something like that, like some electrician walked up to him and was just like, "You should have got that leak fixed because now it will cost $10 million to fix." And he's like, "Haha, good." Because like it's him and he just wants to be petty. He likes to win. He likes to feel like he's the one who got away with it in the end. So probably that landlord in that story had mildly annoyed him, so he just made up this shit. I have no idea what happened with this one. So the story that he tells in this video is that him and his roommate Chad were living together for about 2 years in what he would describe as being a slum. Now, it's kind of one of those really silly ones because he likes to try and describe the landlord as being evil, but to make the rest of the story work, he says that the landlord is renovating the entire building, which doesn't really sound like an evil landlord to me who's not doing anything and not paying anything into his investment. So it kind of takes away from his overall story, but just to make his silly drama happen, it has to be at renovation. It's so silly. But yeah, he says how like people were moving out, when their contracts ended, and then builders were going in and renovating their property. And like they started work at 6 a.m. every morning with heavy machinery, which look, I wasn't there, but I can already tell you, like factually, that did not happen because like pretty much all cities have like ordnance guides and like noise pollution guides where you can't use heavy machinery before a certain time or do construction work before a certain time. So it is nonsense. That does not exist. He is just making that up. And I don't get why. Because everyone knows that Boogie like stays up all night and sleeps till like 4 p.m. So he's really changing this to say that they had to come in extra early to try and make it seem like it affects him. Because the biggest problem is he wants to pretend he's normal. And that's why he said, "Oh, if I was waking me up at 6 a.m. every morning." It's like, well, you were already awake. Like for a normal person, that would be annoying, being woken up at 6 a.m. Like if it happened to me, I would be annoyed being woken up at 6 a.m. But the main time when builders are working, I am out at the house also working. But for Boogie, that doesn't matter because Boogie doesn't work. So, that's the problem. He then says how he had 2 months left on his contract and he wanted to leave, but the landlord wouldn't leave him, let him go, and it was like going to hunt him down if he tried to escape and sue him. But then, like suddenly one day, sewage like came back up through their pipes and exploded out their toilets. I'll let him explain this nonsense.
But on the second day of them working on the pipes, they start blowing them out or something along that lines. And sewage began to invade our apartment. This brown, disgusting sludge started coming up from our bathtub, from the toilet, and filling the floor of our apartment, leaking out into the hallway. So me and my roommate woke up to the smell of feces and God knows what else just invading our apartment. As we're inspecting the damage, it begins to rain from the ceilings because the same thing has happened to the apartment above us, and that is now seeping through the ceiling above us.
And don't worry, hey guys, I know what you're thinking. That darn Irishman, you are one scoundrelous bastard. How could you be so mean to Boogie when he has to deal with that? Just look at that. Just look at that toilet with it overflowing. That must have been horrible for him to wake up and find. It's definitely not like he just searched up disgusting toilet on Google. Like, Boogie, are you fucking serious, mate? Like, come on. You do realize people can reverse image search? Like, that is embarrassing. Could you not have, like, flipped it or something to make it slightly harder for me to find? Like, holy shit, my dude. So, yeah, it sounds pretty bad, though, doesn't it? You know, it's like raw sewage bubbling up through the floorboards and dripping on him through the ceiling as it seeps through the ceiling from the flat above him. You know, that sounds pretty tough, but Boogie's smart. He's a good guy. He goes and he does the one thing you should do. Goes to the landlord, says, Mr. Landlord, look, I would like out of my contract 2 months early. And Mr. Landlord says, no, because don't worry, I'll get this fixed for you by tomorrow. And Boogie says, yep, okay, that's totally acceptable. Could have 30 quid though, so I can go to a motel for the night. And evil landlord's like, look, Boogie, I know you pay me on time every month for 2 years, but no, you're not getting $30 out of me. You can go and sleep in the fucking corner where it's not totally soaked in sewage. Uh, yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to do another That Darn Irishman's evil fucking opinions because to put it bluntly, I don't buy his whole I grew up poor, I was abused, all that childhood shit anymore because he is so like worldly unwise and he's so clearly sheltered if he thinks people are stupid enough to believe this shit. That a place that is flooded in raw sewage will be cleaned by the next morning because that entire flat is fucked. Fucked. So yeah, it is absolute fucking nonsense that he even included any of this wanky shit in the story just to try and push his narrative. Because the best bit is he says, "Do you know what? We decided, fuck him, we're gonna leave," and we left, and he kept coming after us. So eventually, we went to a solicitor. Well, sorry to you Americans to be a lawyer or an attorney, but yeah, so he went to a solicitor, and the solicitor apparently told him, "Yeah, you will lose this in court, and he will get the money from you. So you might as well just pay him." No, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. He might bitch about how Arkansas has shitty consumer rights and like tenancy laws and stuff like that, but it does have laws that if the place is literally unlivable, you do not have to pay rent. And if it is flooded in raw sewage, I'm pretty sure it's unlivable. This is fucking retarded. It is so stupid. So yeah, that's apparently why he doesn't like it. Also because if you don't pay your rent, you can get arrested. Like, oh no. Just like if I don't pay for chocolate bar when I'm leaving the store and get arrested. Oh no. Yeah, the landlord saga was a massive shit show for Boogie. He got called out for his ignorance, which all happened because he was trying to make up for his previous stupid take. He went on a full spiral, arguing with fucking everyone, blocking people, falling out with large creators. So, you know, what do you do when your first attempt to cover up your last bad take has resulted in an even worse one? Well, obviously, you immediately film yourself punching a punch bag to distract people and pretend you're fully committed to your training for your upcoming boxing match, hoping people would just forget about all the previous shit. And the funniest thing is, Kiwi Farms within about 5 minutes proved that he hadn't moved his fucking hand weight since the first video he uploaded. So, yeah, that didn't work either. He immediately got pushed back. He started claiming how he dunked on people. So, he needs another distraction. In walks his sock puppet account. Look, I'm being honest with you here. I have no definitive proof that this is Boogie's account. I just think it's pretty fucking obvious that it is. Because, look, this account has been open for a while, has basically no tweets to it. Suddenly tweets Boogie some absolute nonsense to then say to him that it wants to give him $10,000 to fight him IRL. Boogie then comes straight in and says, yes, this is real. Me and Keemstar are organizing this. And then Keemstar never comments on it, even though Keemstar was all over the other fights. So I'm pretty sure he would comment on it if it was real. Like Boogie's acting like the two of them have been beefing back and forth over the Twitter and DMs, even though Boogie's DMs are not open unless you're a mutual of his, which this person wasn't. And like we can see this person's tweets, and he tweeted at Boogie twice. One of them being that I want to punch you in the face thing, and then Boogie suddenly's like, "No, I've spoken to him on the phone." And someone said, "Well, how did he get your phone number?" And Boogie's like, "No, no, I phoned him." It is fucking nonsense. It is. Oh, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So that actually kind of does work in getting him away from the previous drama. But then immediately he just goes, "Oh, I see Chevy Chase is trending on Twitter. I hope he's dead." And then gives a context tweet to say that it's a joke, and he has to give context that it's a joke because people like to get mad on Twitter, even though the context he gives makes it very clear he hates Chevy Chase, and it doesn't feel like a joke now because of what he just said. So yeah, it actually worked out. He managed to get away from the drama in the end. Now he's not getting any attention. So he jumped straight back into that fucking drama again, saying he hopes he doesn't upset anyone on Twitter today by saying such controversial things as trans rights or human rights or women deserve healthcare. The second of which I've never heard as an argument. It's just Boogie being Boogie, where if you laugh at him for like a really stupid opinion, like his opinion on landlords, then obviously he's equating that to you must hate women or something like that. He also keeps randomly posting about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp because I think he wants to upset people with this one and get attention for a wee bit of drama, but no one really bites on these ones because his opinions are actually kind of boring on them. He also randomly posts on some dude's Twitter profile. The dude's asking what accountability means, and Boogie claims it's sadistically torturing someone you disagree with because, he has to make it about him, and his take has to be like, if you're mean to him on Twitter, then you're sadistically torturing him. He's just, it's kind of pathetic. Boogie then decides to weigh in on the whole Scarlet Witch Doctor Strange thing, and it's just kind of weird because he deletes the post so quickly. No one even gets a chance to archive it, but it pretty much just said that if you don't like Scarlet Witch, it's probably because you don't like people with mental health issues. Which is weird because he then posts that again, doubling down on it, with a new message just saying, but he's not dealing in drama. And then it's just weird because he starts then arguing with people about how the other characters don't have mental health issues and people only like them because they don't have mental health issues, and they're all murderers as well, but people forgive them just because they don't have mental health issues. It's a really dumb argument. I've already even covered it in my Scarlet Witch thing, which hilariously I shared with one of his fans who was curious about the whole situation. He actually then gave me a shout out and said he'd watch it. Spoiler, he did not watch it because 100% I was waiting to get banned after he saw the rest of my videos. So yeah, he then suddenly uploaded his own video not overly long later, and it's just terrible. It did terrible count wise. It's really boring. The only highlights from it really are him saying he relates most to Scarlet Witch because he feels she represents him because of her trauma, and the Hulk because it represents him because of all the rage he keeps contained inside. It's really embarrassing. It's like a 15-year-old boy's kind of take on superheroes. He also gives a slight update on the Sam Hyde fight. Pretty much people are saying that he's going to lose and get the shit kicked out of him, and he'll die in the ring. And he's like, "Good, I want to die in the ring. Life is bleak." It's just the standard Boogie stuff. He also then does what we call Sammy shielding, where once he gets like a certain amount of pushback and he's trying to get away from it, he'll just start posting pictures of his outstandingly shitty and ugly dog and start interacting with his like weird fan account who role plays as his dog, kind of like the Spoony one. It's fucking it's embarrassing. He also then tells the YouTube commentary community that they should be investigating fake fundraisers on TikTok of people pretend to be in the Ukraine to get donations. Like Boogie, of course, has a much bigger subscriber base than like pretty much all the commentary community, but of course he's refusing to do this himself because it'd be any amount of work. It's also outstandingly ironic that Boogie's the one doing this and is the one saying this because of the what is more than likely a massive scam in his last T-shirt run, where he claimed 10% of the money will go to a yet unnamed charity for Ukraine. It's now been over 2 months and the charity has still not been named, and he's also ignored fans who asked him where the money's going. 11th of May hits, and Boogie weighs in on the terrible, evil, horrible, bully, conservative judges who apparently overturned Roe vs. Wade. Full disclosure, not American, do not even pretend to give two shits about this. All I know is that Boogie was mocking them for being upset that apparently people were going to come to their house. He then quickly deletes the original tweet when it's pointed out to him that apparently the protesters would be breaking the law by going there, and the article was just the judges saying that they wouldn't let themselves be bullied, not that they were actually being bullied. So of course, then people drew a direct line of comparison to Frank Castle going to Boogie's house and Boogie deciding to shoot a gun in the air because he was so scared. Boogie somehow claims this is totally different because Frank knocked his door and had also threatened to sissy hypnotize him and then rape him. Boogie gets like a lot of pushback on this because it's a really hypocritical take because of course he makes it about him. People point out how silly it is, so he then has to go again and make up some fucking ridiculous story where he says how he had to take a black female friend of his to an abortion clinic during like college because her boyfriend broke up with her because she was pregnant, and he was the only one who could take her, and that there were evil conservatives who were out front calling her the N word and spitting on her because she was going to get an abortion. And Boogie has never mentioned this story once before in his entire fucking life. And it seems really out of place for him. Like, why would he be there? He's like 400 pounds. He's not like he can protect a girl or anything like that. So why is he just there? But then a lot of people speculated that this is most likely his old friend Danielle, the one he laughed at who died of cancer. Yeah, it's more than likely her because during this time period, they were in an on and off again relationship where she apparently repeatedly cheated on him. So more than likely, this is one of the kids of someone who she cheated on Boogie with, and that's why he's taking her to the abortion clinic. It's class. It's great if that's true.
You know she's getting filled by some black stud. You know there's some black fucking bull that's just filling her with cock meat, giving her the real fuck she deserves. Some big black bull just filling her with cock meat. And that's just crazy talk.
Roll on the 12th of May, and Boogie uploads his Francis Salad mukbang video, and it's fucking terrible, and I'm not going to show you really any of it. The whole thing is to do with like shock, gross out humor. Okay, Boogie, maybe don't show that in the first 10 seconds of the video if you want people to stick around for the rest of the 15-minute long fucking video. Like, he obviously just doesn't understand his audience anymore if that's how he like approaches this. It's also really funny because he shows he can't do the Francis voice anymore. There's no rage or anything. It's actually quite dull. There's no funny bits. And also, he eats a very small amount of food because he's still pretending that his stomach's shrunken from the whole fucking surgery thing. But the point is, it's been like half a decade now. His stomach will have grown back to full size. But because of that, someone criticized him for wasting food. So for like the next 3 days, he kept uploading like pictures of fucking salads and pretending that he was eating salads for every meal, even though the amount of salad he shows is like 200 calories worth. So he would have like starved to death by this. It's so fucking funny. Now, Boogie didn't actually really do too much on the 13th of May. He pretty much just found out that Muda had talked a tiny amount of shit on him on the official podcast back on the 6th of May. Now, pretty much the group got together. They talked to him about 10 minutes at most, just explaining their general distaste for his fake attitude and how they think he has a humiliation fetish, which I actually don't believe in any way. I think he has an attention fetish because with a humiliation fetish, I'd look at someone like Nekakato Avocado who likes to humiliate himself. He wants to get fatter, be more disgusting. He wants to be out in public with people looking at him and people judging him. He likes to do freakouts in public and stuff like that. He likes to compare himself to back when he was thinner and healthier and stuff. In my opinion, he really likes to draw negative attention to himself in that kind of way. Like, look how far I've fallen. Boogie never was high, so it's not like he's fallen or anything like that. I think Boogie likes attention. He prefers praise and good attention, but he still will take a negative attention up to a certain point because he still has his pride. Because eventually he blocks people, and with a humiliation fetish, you don't block people. Blocking people, it goes against your core principles. Humiliation fetish, if a guy is fucking going hard at you, you're like, God damn it, son, give me more. So I don't really buy it with him. I don't think that's him at all. I think honestly, he just likes attention. He did come away looking a wee bit stupid because he did his usual thing. He did a fucking shirtless video on Twitter where he was rambling and crying about them being mean to him and how everyone punches down to him and he's such a poor wee victim because that's his whole fucking gimmick right now. But then he added each of them to complain at them. But he also added Charlie, who wasn't there, even though Charlie's usually the leader of the podcast. He wasn't there on this occasion. So some people say, okay, well, it makes sense. He claimed he never actually saw it, but I don't believe him in any way. In my opinion, he just saw that Charlie was there in picture form, and he probably just thought he wasn't saying anything because I'd seen other people say, oh, well, Charlie was really nice. He didn't even comment. But I don't know. Also, we know he does it because he does watch every video about him. That's just like known at this point. Accidentally on stream, he revealed that his top search on Twitter is his own name. On the 14th of May, Boogie then randomly starts taking shots at iDubbbz and the fans who went in person to the Creator Clash. This is a big boxing event that was set up by iDubbbz. Boogie later on a now deleted stream, so I don't have an archive of this, pretty much said that he wanted to be in the Creator Clash, but iDubbbz ignored him, and that's why he's now doing the Sam Hyde fight, because at least Keemstar would answer him. I don't know why you'd admit that, because that's just cringe. Later on the 15th, he randomly starts retweeting Ricky Barrick, who's insulting iDubbbz. Boogie then eventually does give up on this whole thing when iDubbbz doesn't respond to him in any way, and even Keemstar just tweets him telling him to get off Twitter. Boogie also posts up this really terribly unfunny joke about wokeness, and he gets pushed back, but not because anyone's offended, because it's not an offensive joke. It's just because it's shit. It's a really shit joke. But of course, he pretends everyone was so offended, except him, because he doesn't get offended. Come on, guys, understand. But yeah, finally he uploads a video, which is just a general update about his health and his fight with Sam Hyde, where nothing really happens in the video except him just listing off a laundry list of reasons why he probably isn't going to do the fight. Like, it's weird when he says, like, oh, if my doctor or psychiatrist tell me not to, I'm just not going to do it. Even though earlier on I showed you he said he's happy to die in the ring. So I don't know, yeah. He also touched on all the big evil YouTubers bullying him recently. Even though like he has like more subs than pretty much all of them, he just doesn't really get any engagement because no one likes him anymore. Boogie also reassures people that he's going to rethink his approach to Twitter because he has admitted that it is getting worse. But then he immediately goes into a rant about the whole landlord thing, so I fucking doubt it. Like, I'm sure there'll be enough for me to do one of these every week if I really wanted to, but if I'm being honest with you, I really don't. I've got lots of other projects I would actually really enjoy to do. Just Boogie's really easy, and because I was there, experienced this live, I was like, well, fuck, I kind of have to get on this because it's just good fun. Like, yeah, that's been a week in his life. A lot of poking at bigger YouTubers with sticks and then crying if he gets any form of response from them. A lot of saying really stupid shit and then immediately backpedaling at the slightest pushback for it. Deleting a lot of tweets. So if you ever see anything overly funny and you want to make sure you keep it, archive it immediately. I didn't do it sometimes and I do kind of kick myself for that. A couple little highlights. One of the funniest things is when he tried to show himself off dancing to do a wee funny thing. It's very obvious it's just a pile of dog shite just sitting on the carpet, which is one of the reasons why people think Chad isn't there anymore, because Chad did all the cleaning up stuff. But I don't know. We shall see over the next few weeks if Chad makes a reappearance. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. Like, subscribe, all that shite. Have a good one.